you.
Thank you so much for this opportunity,
How-
Stan.
How have you been?
I've been
You've
awesome.
been
Thank
a
you.
world traveler here, haven't you?
It's been a crazy one,
Yeah.
but all good. It's all family, and that's first focus.
Yeah,
How are you?
I'm doing very well. Doing
Good.
very well. And of course, we're here to talk a little bit about Heroes Marathon. We're getting a little earlier start this year. Last year we got into November, and it really comes upon us very quickly,
It
doesn't
does.
it?
It does. Time flies. But yes, it'll be here before we know it. November the 18th and 19th. So it's right around the corner.
Well, let's talk a little bit about why we have the Heroes Marathon, and also that it has just continued to grow each and every single year.
And that's our prayer. We, to back up, our founder, local Salem resident Bob Gravely, had the idea that there needed to be a marathon since the distance from Salem to Rolla is a perfect 26 miles. He said, we need a marathon here, and it needs to benefit veterans. He went to the American Legion. They said, sure, we'll take you on. And our first year, 2016, we had about 200 participants. And that was a full marathon, a half marathon, which is 13.1 miles. And we also had a 5K that year, which is just 3 miles in and around Lions Club Park in Rolla, where our finish line is for all of our distances. And so first year, like I said, about 200. And then we've been growing steadily ever since. And we really hope that people listen to you and me talking on the radio, and they'll just go to our website, sign up today. If you're busy that weekend, or maybe you're off in a deer stand, you didn't get your buck the week before, you can sign up and participate virtually. Which means you just do it at your time and place during the month of November, and then send in your, that you finished to us, and we'll mail you your medal and your shirt, race materials, and then you've been part of Heroes Marathon and helped us help veterans. We've raised over $100,000 for local veterans so far, so we're really so grateful to the generosity of this community that's made that happen.
And it's not just a one-day event. This actually is kind of a 2-day event, because the night before you have a nice little pasta party over at Community Center at the Armory.
Yes.
And you have some speakers come in and talk about Heroes Marathon, talk about experiences, whether they're marathoners or veterans or associated with maybe a little bit of both,
Right,
But
exactly.
they have a story to tell, don't they?
All of them do. This year, our speakers will be CSM retired James Brackenridge, who has participated for a few years. Such an amazing man. He just retired from his military service and part of Heroes Marathon. Our other speaker is Melissa Martinez. She's an ultra marathoner and has done over 100, and she's been with us since the beginning. She was one of our advisors in setting up our event and has ran the marathon every year since we began. Those will be our speakers. But we're also excited to be in the beautiful, absolutely stunning new gym and have our expo where our participants will come and pick up their bib and their race materials, and then get to see some local businesses offerings, such as Phelps Health will be there to talk about. I'm sure our hospital will be there as well. We'll have different businesses, talking about their products. And then the runners and walkers can go next door, get a nice spaghetti dinner for free, and listen to the speakers, and then go home, get ready to lace those shoes up and walk, mosey, or run anywhere from a half mile to 26.2. We also have a 4-man or 4-woman relay, where a team of 4 decides to do the full marathon, but divide it up into 6-mile legs. So they kind of pass the baton at the 6-mile mark, and then they join up just before the finish line and finish as a little team. And I think that's a lovely way to participate. But we're excited about the pasta party and the expo. It'll be a huge fun time this year.
The one thing I think a lot of people lose track of, this Heroes Marathon is to benefit veterans, but also if you run in this now, and we got it qualified, that if you do race and you do place, you can qualify for the Boston Marathon, correct?
Exactly. 2 years ago, we became USATF certified, and that does mean that if you have a qualifying time for with your your hero's finish time, you'll be eligible to run the Boston Marathon. And for anybody who knows anything about running, that's the holy grail. Everyone wants to do
Sure.
Boston. I'm sure at my age, I'd probably never qualify because you have to be pretty fast
Yeah.
in your age group. But we do have people who have qualified for Boston with our course. So that's an exciting level of professionalism. That and having Big River Race Management as our timing company, just the most professional of, they can help with the New York City Marathon, 50,000 runners. They know what they're doing.
Absolutely.
But the crew volunteers supporting this event is just staggering. I wish I could list every one and tell you about each of our wonderful water stations and give a kudos to our board. You and I were talking about how wonderful Sean Bullerjack is, and he'll be out there putting up signs and helping us with race day preparations and all during the event. But the sponsors, the level of generosity. Everyone loves veterans,
Sure.
it seems, in this
Absolutely.
area. We need to support them. They put their lives on the line for us. So it's
One of the
good to be
neat
able-
things that is about this when you mentioned the volunteers, and let's talk a little bit about it, because this is 26.1 mile, whatever it might be. So we start here in
26.2.
Dent County, actually at the Commons, right?
Right.
Okay, so we start here. So you have to have volunteers here. Then you have a half marathon that starts in Lake Spring. You have
Right.
to have volunteers there.
Exactly.
You mentioned the water stations all along the route on Highway 72. There's a lot of people involved that without them, you could not do this
We
marathon.
wouldn't.
And then you have the assistance of the Highway Patrol
Right.
and local sheriff's
Local
offices
sheriffs
as well, don't
law
you?
enforcement, ambulances. Yeah, it takes about 3 villages to pull it together, and but it's just so wonderful. It's people ask me, can I have the same spot that I had last year? And I love that they enjoy being part of this effort. It's just like I said, I have to give a shout out also to our representative Ron Copeland. Last year, our representative Copeland put 25 American flags along our course, and it was just gives me goosebumps seeing those flags all along Highway 72 and onto Lions Club Drive, which is our half marathon course. But this year, he decided we need to put up 100 signs. And how about if we have sponsorships for each flag? So, number of generous people in our community are flag sponsors. They'll have a little sign at the bottom of each of their flags with the name of their business. And the 100 flags just sold out very quickly, so he's working on 200 flags and envisions lining both sides of the road. And I just think that is the most incredible thing. I've never seen any event that I've ever done that's that kind of patriotism and support.
You are a runner. You
well,
do run.
I'm a mosier.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
You're a participant.
I
How's
do.
that? We'll go with that. You're a participant, but anybody who's athletic and has done this before, even non-athletic, and you want to do a 5K and walk that, it doesn't make any difference. The idea is that you love to be pushed, saluted. You love people to root you on.
Yes.
And we definitely want to remind people to get out there and do that. But now you can't park on Highway 72 on the shoulder and root people on, but you can take your lawn chairs. You can definitely go out there, get on the hillside,
Exactly.
and root them on. There's a number of different places right around intersections. Park off
Get
the
off the
road.
course
Yeah, don't
and
park on
sit and
72.
share.
You'll find yourself with a real nice piece of paper that will cost you some money if
And
you
you
do
don't want that to
You don't want that.
happen. Right.
But you definitely want to get out there and support and cheer them on, because whether you're just doing the marathoners, the half marathoners, or you get all the way to Lions Club Park and you want to cheer on the 5Ks and the 10Ks,
Right.
it really is a unique thing, because they want to hear people. They want
do.
to hear
do.
that support behind them, and this is just the perfect event to support, because it's all for the right reasons.
Exactly. And you're so right. That encouragement, just someone to clap for you and say, hey, you're looking good, even if you're not looking good. To have someone tell you that, stay strong or give you an elbow bump or ring a cowbell or wave an American flag. Just that support just means the world to people, and we're a relatively rural area, so there's not thousands of people lining every mile of our event. So that encouragement is huge. And some people have told us, I really would like to participate. I'd like to cheer, but maybe I'd like to participate, and I can't walk 3 miles. So this year we added between the hours of 12 and 2 what we are calling Heroes Honor Walk. And folks can come park at Lions Club Park, ample parking by the pavilions, sign the form, and then do a half-mile stroll around the lakes. All along the way are our Hero of the Mile signs. I think there's one for your father. We have just honoring individual veterans who've survived the Bataan Death March or currently serving in the U.S. Air Force. And,
or serving in World War II or Korean War or Vietnam. It doesn't matter.
All of them. We've got all of the conflicts covered, I believe. It's so moving. And we have a four-timer who's coming back from Illinois. She said, I do your heroes. I come back because I do this for my father. I'm honoring him. And she said that last half mile, seeing those veterans' photos and their stories along your course, she said that brings closure and it gives meaning to the marathon. So we're excited about the honor walk this year. All of our scouts and probably adults too will receive a patch when they finish. So, and it's not timed, it's by donation. So we encourage people to come on out. And then if you want to spend the morning, just sit there and fish in your lawn chair. And then when the people come by that are wearing bibs and trotting, moseying, walking, clap for them. And what a great way to spend the day.
Okay, so we have different events. We've already touched on all of them, and you can register for any of these. Obviously, you can't register for more than one because you just can't get it all done. But
right.
the thing is that there are a number of events you can register for. Now, first off, let's list the events because we kind of talked about them. We didn't really go in order. So let's start with you mentioned the walk.
Right, that
okay,
honor walk.
So the honor walk. Go
ahead.
ahead.
Do that between the hours of 12 and 2, and that's the last half mile of the marathon course.
Okay, so how much is the honor walk?
Just they want to make a donation, that would be great.
Okay,
All they have
so
to do
just
is
by
show
donation.
Up, sign a form, and stroll around the lakes looking at the signs. The course is still active. There'll still be marathoners and probably just marathoners at that point. But we thought, they can step aside, they can cheer for the marathoner as they trot or walk past.
Okay, 5K starts
5K
in Rolla,
and
the 5K and 10K start at the same time.
Yes, they do.
They do. So that's 8 o'clock in the morning.
8 in the morning at Lions Club Park. The bell goes off and away they run. There comes a split where the 5Kers turn around and head back to the finish line, and then the 10K group keep on going
to the Veterans
so that
Park, right?
They can do 6 miles. They loop around Rolla's Veterans Park, which is beautiful, just a beautiful tribute to veterans. And thanks to the gentlemen who've been working to build that park, there'll be flags all along that section of the 10K as well. So 5K, 10K, begin at 8. Meantime, at the wee dark hours, the marathoners have already left Lions Club Park, and they're being bussed by USA Tours down to Dent County Commons, where they'll, at 0700, they'll start their trudge back to the finish line. Half marathoners start at 8 from Lake Springs, also bussed from Lions Club Park down to their start point. And that's nice. 13.1 miles is fairly doable without months and months of training. Like marathon requires quite a bit of training, as you know. I would not show up and do a marathon without doing the proper training. It's not worth it.
Well, especially this Veterans Marathon, and people, if they do some marathons around cities, they're fairly flat. You are running on a lot of concrete, but you're fairly flat. In the Heroes Marathon it's anything
hilly.
But.
It's hilly. I tell people, I said, it's kind of all relative. If you do, for example, I did Walt Disney World a number of years back, and that's pretty flat. And that was my it was fast, it was cold, so I loved that. But I've done some in California that I had to crawl on my hands and knees up a hill. It was so steep. So it's all kind of, and there's a Pikes Peak marathon in Colorado where you start at the bottom and you climb to the top. So that kind of thing, takes
That'll
marathoning
take
to a
your
new
breath
level.
away, truly.
Yeah, literally, that's a new kind of craziness. But people sometimes they like to. I know for myself, my first marathon I walked. And then I thought, I can do better. I can up it a little bit. So it's almost like once you achieve a 5K, a half mile honor walk. Gee, that felt pretty good. Maybe I'll go a little bit further. Next time I'll sign up for the 5K. Maybe next year I'll do the 10K.
Right.
Feels kind of good to push your body, especially when you get a little older. You realize that I need to take care of myself
Yeah.
because no one else is going to do it for me, and I
Ain't
want
that the
to
truth?
want to be able to enjoy those or add years to my life instead of just life, or life to my years instead of years to my life.
And you do it for a good cause. And
It's-
do it
this is
not only
good
for the good
cause.
cause for your own body, but also the
Right.
good cause of helping out our veterans in many different organizations, which the Heroes Marathon does assist. You have a few of those organizations that you can tell us about, right?
You bet. Right here in Dent County, we have the Dent County Veterans Emergency Relief Fund. And someone's in crisis. They can't pay their gas bill. There are always needs. So the fund through the American Legion exists for that cause, as well as the veteran unmet needs through the VFW here in Salem. In Phelps County area, we've donated to the Assistance League of the St. James Veterans Home, which is such a good home.
Oh, it's
I just think
beautiful
that's
home.
such an amazing place for veterans to go to if they have nowhere else to go. But there are always needs there. We also donated to the Veterans Park. We donated to the VFW in Phelps County 2025 for, again, gas bills, veterans in need. In Pulaski County, because the Fort Leonard Wood is there are active soldiers who need our help, such as the Warrior in Need Fund.
Sure.
Someone's in crisis, they've got to get a plane ticket and get home. Someone's got cancer. With the approval of their superior officer, they can get the money that day. There are veterans in that area who need transportation to Columbia to their medical appointments. So funds have been donated to help with that. So we try to kind of keep it in this 3-county area and focus on some of the main needs that we've heard. And over the years, we've donated to Mission 22 to prevent veteran suicide, Gold Star Families, Patriot Paws to link a soldier in need with or a veteran in need with a therapy dog.
Right.
Just it's been so much fun to be able to help these amazing causes.
And Marilyn, let's remind people that you're not going to be around for the Heroes Marathon or whatever, but a lot of those organizations that Marilyn just talked about, you can make a donation to.
You can.
You do not have to actually go through the Heroes Marathon. You can make a direct donation too. If there's something
Sure.
that strikes you that maybe it affected your family that way, especially Mission 22.
Right.
A lot of veterans, they feel lost sometimes when they come back, and if they're struggling with PTSD and things of that nature, who knows what they're going through at that moment? That they just don't know what decision to make, and so unfortunately, many of them make the wrong one.
They need our help.
Yeah.
And Mission 22 was founded for that very purpose, was to try to counteract some of that estimated 22 veteran suicides a day, which is just a staggering number. It's like, why so high? I think, my family, we're a very much military family. And I feel just my observations, no one comes back from war without either physical or psychological scars or both. And I've seen that firsthand. And then this is a very, kind of macho, oftentimes group that's not, very willing to sit down and unburden, because I always say our emotions are a lot like a bottle of 7-Up. You shake it and you shake it and you don't vent it, and one of these days it's just going to blow up. And they need that place, a safe place to go where they can sit and get it off their chest.
And that's what the really the purpose of the American Legions and the VFW posts were, was to get veterans with veterans, because they have everything in common.
They do.
And they can talk and they can relate. And I know my dad really loved being part of the Legion. And then he was on Destroyer Escort, and they had their own Destroyer Escort Association. They actually started doing reunions of all the guys on his 2 Destroyer Escorts he was on. Now, the one that he left got sank. It actually got torpedoed and went down. And, of course, if anybody really knows anything about Destroyer Escorts, they escort the destroyer. So they protect the destroyer from getting hit. They're the kind of like your safety guards on the sides and in the front. And when you hit one of those ships, and they're smaller than a destroyer, much smaller, and when they get hit, but they're not going to stay afloat very long. And my dad even he told me, he goes, the sad part about it is, he goes, I was the only one that left that ship. And he goes, and we lost 40 people off that ship. They were able to save, I think it was 104, but 40 of 144 passed, and some of them were killed instantly on the explosion, but many of them drowned because they just couldn't get to them. You're out in an ocean and this isn't happening in a swimming pool where you can see the people. It's happening in an ocean, and usually at night. Try and find somebody in a black ocean.
Yeah.
And we're not talking about life jackets. They didn't know they're going to get hit by a torpedo, and they're not wearing those life jackets. So it was he told me it was a very hard remembrance on that destroyer escort, because a lot of his friends were still there. But he liked getting with the people after the fact, and people remember. They always had a prayer at the beginning of every meeting, remembering those who either didn't make it from year to year or those who perished in the war. And it was a very touching prayer. It wasn't one that, we remember everybody. And basically they listed everybody's name. And doing that, you never forget. It always brings back a memory of that person, or maybe there's something.
Yeah.
You may never have known the person, but if you did know him, all of a sudden you remember his face, or a thing that they did, or something maybe in the cafeteria, or something. Maybe it was a jokester, who knows. But whatever it was that was a part of you, that was a part of them,
and they never
comes
came
out.
home.
Yeah, they never come home.
And it's so important. I'm glad that your father was able to participate in those meetings, to get together, to share, to remember. Have you ever been to the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Wall in Washington, D.C.? I just cried the whole time. That's one of the saddest things I've ever seen.
It's the one in D.C., and I know they have a temporary wall that goes around, and that's fantastic. But the one in D.C., though, it's just... whoever designed it, with that sunken area in there, and having the wall the way it is, and the trees around it. Marilyn, you couldn't picture it in a better location.
No,
but
perfect.
when you see the amount of people that stop, they pray, they touch, they remember, they have to do something to remember that family member. And it's a fantastic thing. And I remember walking along, and I even looked to see if I see anybody there that I knew, and there were some kids that I know I went to high school with, whose brothers that went to school with my brother who got drafted, they didn't come back. And those names are there on that wall. And I'll tell you what, you hadn't seen those people in 20, 30, 40 years, but you see them just as plain as day when you see that name.
Yep. And there is a new wall in Berryville, relatively new, and I haven't been over to see it yet, but that's in the works. Just they served their country. They answered the call. They stepped up and took the pledge, and we wouldn't be here if it weren't for so many brave people who answered the call.
It's a truly a touching moment. If you had that opportunity to go, and that's one of the reasons why we do salute our heroes, because that is what these people are. They are heroes. They gave the ultimate sacrifice.
They did. And this would be a good time to mention Town Screen's Veterans Day tribute that they're putting together. I'm sure you'll probably mention that later in the day, but send in your photo, and that way you can honor your loved one.
That's right.
But
Town
and
screens
don't-
are all over town now. You can see it, and it's free. It's absolutely
wonderful.
free.
It's
And
a great
thing to do.
advertising.
And for our veterans,
No cost.
that's the least you could do to remember a veteran,
Mm-hmm.
or salute a veteran that's still with us.
Yep.
But you
It's a
can
nice
remember
opportunity.
one as well. It's a fantastic thing, and get them out there. Let's talk a little bit about the Heroes Marathon and how to register. Registration's going on right now.
Perfect question. And if you register these last few days of October, you'll beat the price hike coming up November 1st. So
The
sign
price
up
hike?
now.
Everything's going up, Marilyn.
I know. It's like we're kind of encouraging people to register now because, we have to line up buses and order shirts, and a lot of preparations are being made. And it just makes it so much easier for us if folks sign up early. And the way to do it is to go to our website, which is www.heroesmarathon, HEROES, then marathon.com. And there's a link to races and registration, and you just fill it out online, enter your credit card. It's very easy. And if you're not an internet person, you can print up a paper form, fill it out, mail your check to our post office box, and then you're signed up. We take such good care of our runners. We're really proud of the fact that other events I've done, they charge for these things, but our runners get not only a great shirt and great medal, but outstanding course support, a finish line party, their free pasta party the night
pasta
before.
party.
We have, if you're over 21 and you're so inclined, you could have a little runner's champagne at the end of your half or full marathon. Grellner is offering everyone a free beer. We have a free massage for those sore muscles donated by Vessels Fitness in Rolla.
There you go.
So we're super excited. This year we're really thrilled that our KSMO media will be live streaming our finish line. So we'll be able to offer our entrants the click on our website and watch that hoopla surrounding your finish line with your time posted, and it's exciting to hear your name called and know I really accomplished something amazing this morning. Plus, I helped our veterans.
Absolutely.
It's a win-win.
And if you would be so inclined that you want to actually still be a sponsor of the Heroes Marathon, you still can do that too.
You can. Today'd probably be about the last day. So if you're interested in being a sponsor, call me now or call me today. There's the link to catch up with me at our website. It's contact@heroesmarathon.com, and we're always grateful for sponsors. I think all of the flags are sponsored, but text me and we'll talk.
If you want to make a donation towards something at the spaghetti dinner or the pasta dinner, you
Right.
could do that too.
We always need helpers.
There's always something that can be sponsored, and trust me, we'll find a way to take that money and make sure it goes to the right donation. That's
good
what
cause.
you're intending it to do anyway.
And that's a good point. You and I talked earlier about this is a charity marathon. There aren't any paid positions. Everyone that works on this is volunteer, and that's different than
Yeah.
a lot of events. So I think people like that the money stays local and the money doesn't go for anything except where it's supposed to go. We pay our bills to run the marathon, and all the rest goes to veterans' causes.
Very good. So you go online, you can register online. You can register for any of the races, the 5K, the 10K. You can do the full marathon. You can do the relay. Now,
Relay.
usually the relays fill up pretty quick.
They do.
So if
sign
you're
up
going to do the
now.
relay, and I think last year when I looked, I think it was right before we talked last year, it was already booked. I thought, wow.
We'll add more. If someone wants a team, we'll make it work.
But if
that's
you
fun.
are interested in half relay, full relay, the half marathon, the full marathon, the relay, 5K, 10K, or even the honors walk,
Right. Yep.
feel free to go online. You can do it or do it virtually. You can do that
Perfect.
online too, correct?
Yep. There's no reason not to participate. Yep.
Had a lot of great reasons to participate.
there.
That's for sure.
Yep.
All right, very good. This will be on what day?
November the 19th this year. It's always the Saturday after Veterans Day, and our pasta party, which is free for all of our participants, is the night before, right here in Salem.
Right.
So that'd be November the 18th. But race day is November 19th.
So, picking up packets. If you're going to be at the pasta party, your packet will be there.
Yep, it's there for you to pick up your bib, your safety pins, all your swag, and your shirt, and then you get your pasta, load up on those carbohydrates that you need to exert
Exactly.
yourself the next day, and get inspired with our speakers, and then head home, rest up, and be in Rolla, ready to go.
Next morning. But there are some people that do come in from out of town. We're going to talk about that in just a minute. That may not be able to make it Friday night, but
Right.
their packets will be there the next morning.
That's
Correct?
a really good question. Yes, we'll be inside the Lion's Den starting at 5 a.m. on Saturday morning, because you're right. We had people come from 26 states last year, so it's great for tourism.
That's what I mean.
And they can pick up their packet that morning, then board the bus, and be ready to go out to the Dent County Commons or the Lake Spring Half Start, which is the 13.1ers. And so, yeah.
So we had
lots of options.
somebody from out of the country last year
We
participated.
had someone
Yeah.
sign up from Saudi Arabia a year
Yeah,
before.
somebody
We
from
had
over around
Australians.
not Switzerland, but over around Ireland.
I,
They
I,
came over.
I'm sorry I didn't get to
Yeah.
meet them.
Yeah.
We've had a lady from South Africa our first year. It's just so much fun to hear people's stories. You know, are they trying to do a marathon in each of the 50 states? Are they wanting to do a marathon in each of the continents?
Mm-hmm.
Are they, what is the reason? I love when families come together. We've
Right.
got Grandpa coming from Chicago and Aunt Victoria coming from Michigan and then someone from St. James, and they all meet
Mm-hmm.
up and do this as a family, and then go have a nice afternoon together, and they have a good time.
And in some cases, Marilyn, the people stay over for Thanksgiving.
I think that's
Some of that happens where they just, and now it seems like schools are taking that whole week off now, so there's no school. I know at least Salem, they don't have any school that next week, and so
That's
that
perfect.
whole week, if you've got family coming in, stick around and do your Thanksgiving celebration as well.
bring them to Heroes Marathon, and then spend the week partying and eating lots of pie, and just celebrate together and give thanks for this
There
wonderful
you
country
go.
that we live in.
Start training for the next year already,
Exactly.
right after you
That's
eat.
the time. Yeah, a
You
kind
might
of a
need to-
reverse turkey trot, so to speak. Yeah.
You might need to do that. If they have questions, if somebody just needs an answer to a question or two, is there anybody they can call?
Sure. 573-247-3005. Be happy to answer any questions. Or again, there's an email on our website, contact@heroesmarathon.com. So answer any questions anytime.
So if anybody would like to take a look, go to heroesmarathon.com.
Correct.
Okay, and if you can really find out virtually anything you know there. But like Marilyn said, not everybody's computer savvy.
Right. And that's
If you
fine.
are not,
Yeah.
print out. You go there, you can print the form out, fill it out, and then mail it in.
Mail it in with your check, and you are registered.
Very good. And this is, again, very close to the hearts of people here in Salem and Dent County as well as Rolla. Fort Leonard Wood supports it very well. You do have a number of veterans that actually do run in this race. We've had
do.
actually, at one time, I know we had actually a few members actually carry their backpack.
They're rocks. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I'm blown away when I see that. Troy Hardwick from Kansas will be coming, and he participates in the half marathon every year, carrying his AR with his rock on his back. We'll have volunteers coming from Fort Leonard Wood, both the Navy and the Army, which is always kind of fun to see the little bit of needling that goes on between the branches.
Friendly
A friendly needling.
competitiveness,
It's
yeah.
wonderful, but it makes it so much fun for the people participating to see our soldiers. These are our heroes that are lining the course, helping us put this on. So we'll be so thrilled to have them helping us once again. Also, we have our MS&T Student Veteran Association, and they have the last water station, which is also the most challenging because you have 10K and 5K going one way and half and full and relayers going another. So they're on the ball, and they put funny sidewalk chalk writings like "Run Forest Run" and put American flags along the sidewalk, make a bridge. I mean, they're very good at motivating our participants, because when you do 26 miles walking, running, or moseying, in my case, you're dragging by that point. Your body's pretty well toast, and your mind is what's keeping you going at that point.
But do stay hydrated. You have to
that's
stay
important.
hydrated.
And
You know, we've
thanks.
had some cold days that we ran the marathon. We've had some warm days. We've had some windy days. So
It's
we've had a
Missouri
little bit
in
of everything.
November.
Yeah.
We have to be prepared for just about everything. But we have those hydration, we call them water stations, but we have snacks and lots of bananas thanks to U.S. Foods. We have Gatorade and some gels, mile 20 at the Godey station. Just lots of support along the way, whatever their distance. Probably not for the half-mile honor walk. They'll probably have to carry their own water.
Yeah.
But it's only half mile. I think all of
You
us
won't be
can.
too far away from it, though. Any?
I have an important thing on the pasta party that the American Volunteers are doing. The Current River Kitchen will be cooking up the pasta for them.
Wow,
Well,
the
there you
Current
go.
River Kitchen will be cooking the pasta for the pasta
very
party.
good.
Thank you for that update, Melba.
Well, it was for my
That's
turn, so-
yeah,
Okay,
that's
well,
good to
very
know.
good.
So shout out for those
Current River
folks.
Kitchen. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And again, there's always something you can do to help. That's why
Yes.
sponsors are never turned away.
Please.
You know, and if you feel the need to help, and trust me, there's always something that money, whether it be $50 to $5,000, that if you think, well, my contribution is not going to make a difference, that's not true.
It's never
every
true.
every contribution makes a difference. And
It all
I
adds
wanted
up.
to ask you, and I know you've been out, and I know your board has been meeting whenever you're kind of in town, kind of
I know,
haphazardly.
it's crazy.
But has there been a kind of and I don't want to say a goal is to try and reach a number of different runners this year, but every year we've gone up in the amount of runners.
Right.
Has there been an idea about, we like to try and reach this many this year, or we anticipate we're going to reach this many this year? Has that kind of been talked about in your meetings?
Oh boy, that's a tough question because everybody signs up at the last minute.
I
so
know,
it
and
makes
it's
it
so
so
rough.
difficult to predict. I know how many we have now and where we were at this time last year, and we can only hope that with radio interviews such as
Mm-hmm.
KSMO, with lots of banners up and lots of advertising and whatever media
Mm-hmm.
that we can cover, we're trying to put the word out. Of course, we advertise nationally through runners' websites, so we're hoping for more than we had last year. Last year, I think there were 530 that registered. I'm not sure how many of those actually, showed up with their shoes
I'd say
on ready to go.
95% were here.
Probably, a good share.
And some did register virtually as
right,
well.
We have some virtuals, but we do know that people from 26 states participated in person, and so that's we hope to do better. If we have 540 this year, I will be thrilled, and then we just keep on growing. That's in spite of everything in our
Right.
country, gas prices and. It's a
Crazy stuff,
challenging
yeah.
economic times, but we hope to keep on growing because we hear people say we always do post runner survey to ask them, what can we do better? Some things we can't change, can't take the hills out, but we can put another porta potty at mile 13 or
Yeah.
but most of the feedback is just overwhelmingly positive. And one runner wrote, I've done 75 marathons in my lifetime, and this one is the best. And to hear that kind of thing from a small little area, Salem's not
Sure.
we're not New York City. And if we can put on an event of this caliber, is just so gratifying. It's only because of the volunteers. It's only because of our sponsors that we're able to do this.
I was talking to a marathoner at the pasta party who had done it the previous year, and I had never met this gentleman. And we were kind of in line together, waiting to get something to eat. And I said, "So where are you from?" And he goes, "Well, I'm originally from Iowa, but I moved to Kansas City." And he was here from around the Kansas City area. I don't think he lived in Kansas City, but just outside it. And I said, "Well, thank you for coming to Salem." He goes, "Well, 2 years ago, I did a 10K." He goes, "The first year for the 10K, I guess that was the first year. I did the 10K, and he goes, I made a promise to myself that the next year I'd do the half marathon.
Oh, great.
And I said, oh, great. And I said, so you're doing the half marathon again? He goes, nope. After I did the half marathon, I made a promise to myself I'd do the full marathon.
Wow.
He goes, so I have been working out. I've been doing other marathons and getting ready for this one. He goes, because this one is, I've been told, he goes, I've been told it's a very difficult marathon. I said, well, you got a lot of hills.
Yep, there are hills.
And he goes, that's what I'm told. He goes, he goes, I'm looking forward to it. I'm kind of dreading it, but I'm looking forward to it at the same time. But that's the kind of goal setting that a lot of veterans have done over the years. I know a lot of athletes do that, but even people who are non-athletes, if you do it, like Marilyn was saying earlier, if you do the hero's walk and you say, next year, like, yeah, I think I could do that I think I could do that 5K.
Yeah.
I can do about 3 miles.
And, it's,
And there's no rush. You don't
There
have to
isn't.
race anybody.
Nope.
If you want to race, you can. If you want to make that time for the Boston Marathon,
Right.
you can.
Yeah,
But if
exactly.
you would but it doesn't matter if you come in first or 433rd.
Nope.
You're helping out the cause.
And your own body too. I didn't start till I was almost 50 with my first marathon, and Bob Gravely was 78 when he did his first marathon. The human body is so resilient. I'm a nurse, and it's amazing what the small little changes that we can make. I'm going to drink 1 extra cup of water today. I'm going to walk 1 more mailbox than I walked the day before. Anybody can do this. You just have to decide that you're going to do it. And those small changes tend to inspire others. And, it's like a ripple in a pond. We can make a difference.
Now, if you've been sedentary for a long time, I will say you should
Yep,
probably
get a
talk to
doctor's
your
clearance.
doctor
Exactly.
first before you go and say,
Yeah.
I want to go from that half marathon to a full marathon. I know I haven't really practiced. That's probably not a good
Right,
idea.
Not a good idea.
So you may want to
to
just, you may want to get with your physician. But if you do want to get on an exercise program to do this, first off, these are such great events to get yourself in shape. Now, I'm not saying you may want to go run 25 marathons in a year. Some people do.
You can.
You can.
Yeah, you
but you may just want to do small ones
Just do
to keep
5K.
yourself in shape. You can walk
go
around
from there.
town. You can run around town. You can get that done. Back in May, we had the local
We're in
5K,
Salem.
10K
It was
right here in
wonderful.
Salem. And it was nice. And it really worked out nice. So we hope to have that again next May. So we hope you get involved in this. And it's really a great thing. As I mentioned, it's a heroes marathon, not just a marathon, though. It's a full marathon, half marathon, marathon relay, 10K, 5K, and the heroes walk that's new this year.
Yes.
That's
All of-
fantastic.
All the above. We're so excited.
Absolutely. Marilyn, as always, thank you very much. You want to give your phone number out one more time, if you would?
You bet. 573-247-3005. If you have a question, give me a call.
And Marilyn's ready to talk to anybody. If you have a question or two, sponsors, don't be hesitant. Give her a call. But like you said, get near the end of the sponsorship time because you like to get them in the official program and give them as much recognition as you possibly can.
Yeah.
And we do that. But also, as you mentioned earlier when we first came on, the prices for the marathon do go up November 1st.
Yep, all distances November 1st. So save $5 and register now.
There you go.
Thank
Make it
you.
easy. Let's go to that website one more time.
You bet. www.heroesmarathon.com.
As always, thank you very much for
Thank you
coming in
so
and spending
much.
some time with us
So
on
grateful.
KSMO Radio. We have some AP news coming your way in just a moment here at KSMO. We'll follow it up with statewide news on Missouri Net, civic happenings, and more on KSMO. It is Monday, October 24th. Marilyn, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Stan.
No one plays more music. KSMO.